guys, and welcome to my review of One Piece chapter 857, Rook. This chapter was a mixture of being really hilarious and just having some needed conversations kind of almost happening, but not quite. And then we have an info dump and a possible alliance by the end that I don't trust for a second, but let's leave that for last because I feel like that's the big topic issue that I'll get into probably quite quickly. But we have the first half of the chapter, which, as I said, was really funny, and if you saw my live reaction, I literally just laughed my way through that because damn, that was funny, and that was some much needed Straw Hat interaction that I've just been craving for a long time. So that was really great. I'm really glad that Sanji is acting more like his usual self at this point, because he really started the chapter off still in that kind of gloomy state, even though he's practically been forgiven at this point. But he's still that, like, he can't really face Nami after what he did to her, and he's still like, I don't know, I've just been doing all this bad stuff, which, yeah, Sanji, you have. But we all forgive you because we love you. Also, happy birthday, by the way. But that's irrelevant. Just thought I'd let you know. But we have that stuff, and we have him interacting with Nami as they usually interact, which is really nice because last time they saw each other, they really had like a fallout, which was very unusual for them. They dropped the honorifics, she slapped him, and he just didn't do anything. And he hasn't done the hard eyes thing like forever, so it's really nice for him to be back on the kind of flirty, oh Nami, do you want to marry me kind of track now, which is really nice. We also have Luffy saying that he's really relieved when that happens, because that's when I think Luffy really knows that Sanji is back to being their Sanji, a Sanji who will, while he's still kind of struggling with some things, he'll definitely be accepting their help, and they'll stick together from now on, because, as I said, Sanji is really being shown the love in this chapter, with Chopper and Carrot and Brook just yelling at him that they were so worried because they heard that he'd had a fight with Luffy, and they thought it was much worse than it was. And I just thought that was really cute. And also the conversation with like Jinbei and stuff like that. It was all very cute. But then we get into the Capone stuff, which, dear lord, oh my god, we finally get to Capone, and he's just one crazy motherfucker. Like, holy crap, this dude. So apparently he messes with people like a lot, and he has a lot of people who hate him, and they just can't touch him because he's so strong, and he really earned the title of one of the first generation people because holy crap, he's crazy. How did he not have a higher bounty when we met him the first time? Like, probably because he works in the underworld, but you know, damn, he's just crazy. And you know he's crazy when it comes from Jinbei, who's like a relatively chill dude, but when Jinbei's like, this guy is just crazy. Like, woo! You know it's weird. Especially when you think about the fact that Jinbei was trying to sell this guy to Luffy. Like, he was all like, yeah, so now that I've told you how horrible he is, and then he tried to kill Peckhams, who you're kind of buddy with, and he kidnapped Sanji and did all these horrible things. Do you want to make an alliance with him? Like, that's how Jinbei sold him. That was not a good, like, no, that was not a good pep talk, but he convinced Luffy, kind of. Because Luffy was like, yeah, I really hate that dude, but if we have to make an alliance with him, I guess we can talk to him and see what happens from there. Even though apparently 4 out of the 6 people who were with Jinbei voted for not joining up with them. I would probably say that those were Nami, Chopper, Carrot, and Brook, and then Pedro and Jinbei were for the alliance, but I mean, that's just the gist I got from their reactions. But yeah, we're apparently making an alliance with this crazy dude, and I'm just gonna repeat a few things that I said in my live reaction and then just elaborate a little bit on them because, woo! I saw some, you know, titles from other reviewers / reactors when I scrolled through my YouTube. I haven't watched anything yet because you know that I do like to watch them after I've done my own so that I won't be influenced, but I saw their titles and a lot of people were like, oh my god, alliance, blah blah blah. And yeah, it seems like people are really like, oh my god, this alliance. But I don't know, because I just don't trust Capone. Like, as I said, he seems like the least trustworthy guy ever. And as I mentioned in my live reaction, Robin said back in Punk Hazard when they joined up with Law that pirate alliances are marked by betrayal. And since Law obviously didn't betray them and won't betray them now because he's indebted to them, there's just a good chance that that might just come back into play now. Because Capone and Luffy working together to try to wreck the wedding? I mean, yeah, sure, they're both like Vito looks up to the Beansmokes or the Germa, and the Straw Hats kind of want to save them, and they want to take down Big Mom because as of now she's their enemy, which, you know, breaks my heart kind of. But I just, what happens after that? What happens when Capone has either achieved his goal or figured out that he won't be able to achieve it because he underestimated Big Mom, which, I mean, I'll take that a little later. Like, what happens then? Because they're obviously not gonna continue their alliance. I just don't see that happening. Like, it really, really won't. No. Also, Capone has a child. Sometimes I forget that. But, either way, I don't see that happening, and since Capone is already ready to just kill off Luffy if they don't come to an agreement, he seems like the kind of guy who would just stab Luffy in the back whenever he's done what he needs him to do, unlike Law, who would probably just like I don't even know what Law would do at that point if it didn't work out. He kind of had like one shot at it, but that doesn't really matter. It worked out for him, kind of. He lost an arm and got almost died. My English is very good. But yeah, Capone, don't trust that guy. But going back to what I said about Big Mom, because I've seen some very comments on my comment section for the live reaction, and it seems like people are very much liking Capone at this point because, oh my god, he's really, really cool now. Which, yeah, he is really cool. And he has been planning this betrayal for quite some time, and now that he's head of the security, like, damn, I said that in my live reaction too, that just spells chaos. There's no way that won't go wrong because he has too much power now. But there's also a chance that things just will fall through, because if he plans to actually kill Big Mom, he will actually have to face her. And as of this point, we don't really know what Big Mom's power actually is. We've seen her soul pieces do stuff through Prometheus and Zeus. They kill the fly, rather... yeah, they killed a fly, and that was scary. But we don't know Big Mom's real power. We don't know Capone's either. But Capone does really seem to be like great mastermind backed up with relatively strong power, but not overwhelming power, if you get what I mean. Like, the reason that he's been planning for all this time is because obviously he's not strong enough by himself to just take down Big Mom. If he was, he would never have decided to work for her. He would have just decided to just go against her or something. But there's also the case of Big Mom seeming to think that everything is under her control, which can also backfire on her. And if my theory ends up being true with some of her children actually going against her, that just weakens her even more, and it's more likely, or it's just more likely for her to be taken down. I don't believe that she will be killed. I think her Devil Fruit power is way too interesting for that to happen. I think that killing a Yonko now is a little too early. I think Whitebeard's death was great and stuff like that, and it changed a lot of things in the world, but that had to happen before the time skip. I feel like now the most they can do is replace her, but I still want her to be relevant in the world because I just really like Big Mom, and I think I really like the concept of her. And I've said this multiple times as well, I don't want Big Mom to be the first Yonko that Luffy takes down. As I read, or after I'd done the live reaction, I did remember back in Punker Start when Luffy did say that, oh yeah, well, I'm eventually planning to take down all 4 Yonko, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he'll defeat them, because Shanks is one of the Yonko, and he's obviously not trying to dethrone Shanks or anything. He just wants to beat him, show him that he's stronger than him, and that's another theory that I believe must have been made somehow. I do believe that Blackbeard will kill Shanks before he gets a chance to probably meet up with Luffy, but that's a sadder theory for another day. But yeah, I just really don't want Big Mom to be the first Yonko that Luffy takes down, so if she goes down, I want it to be for other reasons other than Luffy being the main force of that, because just as was said in this chapter, Luffy and Capone's goals are different because Luffy's goal is to save someone while Capone's goal is to kill someone. So it could still, like, Big Mom could go down and Luffy would have nothing to do with it because he's just trying to protect Sanji's family, which we don't call them because they're definitely not his family. Just lastly, I want to mention some things that I again mentioned in the live reaction, and I will come back to this in the Luffy analysis that I'm working on. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'm also working on another analysis, so just like all over the place. But I mentioned in my live reaction that Luffy has been thinking a lot in this arc, and he's generally a lot smarter than people give him credit for. He may not be like Robin intelligent or just intelligent like some of the other Straw Hats in the same ways. Like, he's not a strategical minded person like Sanji is, and he's not he doesn't have the same kind of creativity that Usopp and Frankie have, but he's still very smart when it comes to people and when it comes to logical decisions, and especially after Water 7 and after the time skip, he's been very good at making like the logical choice when it comes to how to best protect his crew, even though he is a person who is very guided by his feelings and emotions, which is also why it's why he's made some of the choices regarding Sanji in this arc the way he has, rather than like thinking calmly about stuff. But he has also, as I pointed out in the live reaction and months back when he fought Cracker, Luffy has been thinking rationally about a lot of things. It's why he initially wanted this to be an infiltration mission rather than a rescue mission, because that would have been easier to just get Sanji back that way. But it ended up being like half rescue, half infiltration, because they had to get the poneglyphs as well, and then they had other crew members and they ended up in fights and it just all went to hell. But Luffy has been thinking a lot in this arc, which, if Capone does end up betraying them, as I said in the live reaction as well, I don't think the consequences would be as bad as they would have been had Luffy made an alliance before the time skip, or maybe just before, or maybe just even with Law. I don't think that a betrayal at this point would break Luffy as much or would have as many consequences for Luffy and the Straw Hats, because I don't think that deep down Luffy will ever trust Capone the way he trusted Law, because as I will get into in my character analysis, Luffy is a really good at reading people. He's a people person. He reads emotions in a way that other people don't read emotions, which is why he's made a lot of the choices that he's made over the course of the entire series. So generally, but I just find it really interesting because, as I said, I don't trust Capone and I think he will betray us. It would just be really interesting to see how Luffy would deal with that, because, again, going back to what Robin said, pirate alliances are marked by betrayal. I want to see Luffy dealing with that, because sometimes Luffy and his crew don't live in the real pirate world, they bend the rules, and as fun as that is to watch, I sometimes want him to have like that real life taste like he did back in Marineford and Impel Down, where things just didn't go his way. And while he's of course stronger now, he can't control a betrayal by someone he doesn't know and by someone who was initially his enemy anyway. And Capone is just like rotten to the core, so I just really don't trust this guy. Like, I trust the Vinsmokes more than I trust Capone. Like, that's how far we're going at this point. I just really don't trust that guy. And I don't think Luffy will either. But Luffy is the kind of person who will, if needed, make an alliance with people he hates. We've seen this in Impel Down. He made an alliance, a temporary alliance with Crocodile, even though he hated him so much because of what he did to Vivi. Yet he still trusted him that during their alliance they would work together to get what they wanted. And just as they'd gotten out of Impel Down, they started a fight. So I think with Capone it may maybe become the same thing. I don't think they'll actually have a fight because they have to get us to Wano as quickly as possible. So when they wreck the wedding and save the Vinsmokes, they will get to Wano, because after that they have they have nothing else to do on Whole Cake Island. Like, that's the only things that they want at this point. They've gotten Sanji, they've gotten the poneglyphs, now they're just there to fulfill Sanji's selfish wishes that he's kind of like still struggling with, but yeah, generally I just really like the way that Luffy's been acting this arc, because he has been a little more logical than he usually is, and it's nothing out of character because that is what Luffy is. He's just been extra careful, and I think it also stems from the fact that they are against the Yonko. Like, Luffy's not an idiot, he's aware of that, and he's aware of the fact that he literally only has 7 people that he can fully trust. and that's not a lot in the face of what they have. That's probably why he was so quick to agree with Jinbei that they need this alliance, because yes, they are only 7 people, and all of them aren't really the best fighters. Like, they have former Shichibukai Jinbei, and they have Sanji. And it's not that the others aren't strong, like Brook has really proven himself in this arc. Peijo is a hella strong fighter. Carrot is as well, Chopper is as well, and Nami has a lot of good things as well, and she's definitely getting a fight in this arc. But when we're going up against an enemy like Big Mom, they're just not enough. They're really, really not enough. And we still, like as I said last time as well, we haven't seen the last Sweet Commander yet. And they're just enemies that we haven't faced yet. So we do need more people, and I think Luffy's very, very aware of that. And another thing, just lastly, the last point. At this point, we haven't seen Caesar at all, ever since he was kind of locked away in that factory to make the drug that he can't make. And he's definitely going to play a role somehow. And he's probably going to be like, not pro-Straw Hat, but definitely anti-Big Mom, because Big Mom will kill him whenever she finds out that Caesar can't make that drug. And as I've said before, Caesar has to go with us to Wano because he makes the smile that Kaido buys from him through the flamingo. So he has to go on to that stress. What happens to him after Wano, I can't tell you, but he's definitely going to Wano with us. So it's just a matter of time until we see him. And on top of that, I just remembered that Jinbei mentioned that there are gonna be a lot of guests from the underworld invited to the wedding who are gonna play a role as well. What they'll do, I don't know, because underworld makes me think that they might be in on the thing with Capone, but then again, that's kind of like a bet they have to make on Capone rather than just going with Big Mom, who is like a strong Yonko who rules part of the new world. So I don't know what to think about that yet, but it's definitely gonna increase the chaos. Of course, we also have the Tomato which is gonna explode at some point. Don't know how that's gonna happen yet. Don't know in whose favor it's gonna blow up in, but you know, we'll see at that point whenever it happens. But I think that's all I have to say about this chapter. So if you liked anything that I had to say, you can leave a thumbs up on the video. Leave in the comments below what you thought of the chapter and anything that I said in this review. And you can subscribe if you want to see more of me. And until next time, bye!